Hi, I'm Elizabeth. Welcome to my one-handed knitting tutorial. Today I will be taking you through how to hold the yarn and the needle in one hand. My previous videos holds the yarn with my right amputee arm, which if you have a shorter amputee arm or if you have had a stroke and you don't have use of your right side, this should hopefully give you a way to knit one-handed completely. So I'm going to be using 7mm needles with Stylcraft Halequin chunky yarn. If you're not sure how to cast on, there is a link to the video below. Let's get started. So to start with, I'm just going to show you how I hold the yarn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weave the yarn between my fingers. So it goes over the index finger, under the middle finger, over the third finger and under the pinky. So it's worth spending a bit of time just getting used to holding the yarn, and then when you close your fingers you should get that tension. So try different hand grips and just get used to having the yarn there and having control over it. If you forget or you drop it, just remember you're weaving it between each finger, starting with over the index. Okay, so now we are going to hold the yarn and the needle at the same time. So we're going to weave the yarn through our fingers as we've just learned how, and then we are going to turn our hand over. Now we're going to hold the needle between our thumb and our middle, third and pinky finger, and our first finger is going to be used to control the tension of the yarn. So pick it up, and it's worth just getting used to holding all of it together. If you feel that that there's too much yarn and you want to be closer to the needle, that's fine. What I do is I use my thumb to just pull the yarn through like that, and then now I am closer to the needle. It is also worth now getting used to holding the yarn and the needle with just your third and pinky finger and keeping your middle finger free, because we're going to be using that to help us knit. So just get a little bit of practice and get comfortable holding both the yarn and the needle at the same time. Okay, so now we're going to insert our right needle into the first stitch. Okay. So now we are holding our left needle with our third and pinky finger, and we've got our first finger holding the yarn out. Now what we're going to do is use our middle finger to wrap the yarn over the right needle, and we're just going to hold it there so that we can then bring with our thumb the left needle over the right and under like that. And then we're going to push the stitch onto the right needle and then pop it off the end. Like that. So this bit is quite fiddly, but once you get the hang of it, you should be fine. So we're going to go into the next stitch down again. So we're through here, and then we're going to bring the yarn under the right needle and over it using our middle finger, and then we're going to hold the yarn underneath with the middle finger so that we can bring the right needle over the top, put the stitch on the right needle and off the left needle. And we're just going to keep doing that over and over. So we're going in the next stitch across. We're going to bring the yarn under and over with our middle finger, and then we are going to pop the right needle over the top and then pop the stitch off the left needle. And then we're going to try again. So needle through the stitch, middle finger over, and you're sort of holding it underneath this right needle to give that tension so that it doesn't pop off. And then you can just bring your left needle underneath so that the stitch sits on the right needle, and then with your middle finger just pop it off the end. And then we're going to go in again. We're going to go round with the middle finger. We're going to push it through and then off. If you need to stop, so I now have not holding the right needle at all, but very slowly just pushing all the stitches, and then I'm going to hold it again while I secure the right needle so that I can pop the stitch off the end, and I sometimes give it a little nudge with my middle finger, and then we're going to go again. So into the next stitch, round with the middle finger. So you've still got your first finger up here holding the yarn, giving it that tension. Your third and pinky finger are holding the needle, but they're also holding the yarn. But because you're sort of grasping the needle, it does give you a good amount of tension. But keep practicing because you might struggle with this to start with. And then we're just going to bring the right needle over the top and off the end. And we'll just keep doing this until you've got the hang of it. If you sometimes need to give the middle finger a little bit of help with the right, you can just move them together, but just making sure that the yarn is wrapped around the middle to hold it in place, and then pushing it on and over. So now I'm just using my thumb to pop those stitches a little bit further up, but it's always worth having them a little bit further down just to be safe than sorry while you're learning, and you don't want to lose any stitches. So bringing it over with the middle, popping it over the end and pushing the stitch onto the right needle and then pulling it out. This pulling it off the end can be a bit tricky. You might end up with your yarn up here, but don't panic. Just a little bit of reorganization and you can get it behind both needles again. So over and off. So that's happened again. So I just bring my left needle back over to pop it, and then it can go. Make sure the yarn is in the right place. Okay, so we're going to try from a different angle. So you can see I'm holding the right needle under my arm now, and then we're just going to do a few stitches this way. So we're going to put the needle into the first stitch, and then we are going to bring it over with our middle finger, and then over and off the end like that. So if it gets a bit loose, just pull it back on here and then carry on. So we're bringing the yarn over with our middle finger here, pushing it back, holding it down, and then bringing the needle over and into the next stitch. We're bringing the yarn over and needle over the top. So I'll just show you how to do this slowly. So I'm holding the needle with my thumb and these two fingers, and then I'm going to use my middle finger to bring the yarn over the bottom needle, hold it there, and then bring that needle over, like that, into the next stitch. So now the yarn is over the top, we just adjust it so it's underneath, bring it all the way over, and go. Middle finger, I've got the right one up here. And over and through into the next stitch. So using the middle finger to bring the yarn over, and then you use your thumb to bring the stitch, the left needle over the right, like that. And you will get quicker as you get better. So like that, holding the yarn down at the bottom, and then popping the needle over. Oh, so I've made a mistake. I've not actually popped it over. So just making sure that that stitch goes off the end of the needle properly. So like that, over and off. And off. Just change the angle a little bit. So we're holding it there, holding the middle finger here as we ease it over. Over and off like that. Okay, so some knitters, one-handed knitters, they hold the needle with their legs. So I'm just going to try and show you how you can use this method with the needles facing upwards. So we're just going to put the needle through the stitch, and then we're going to bring the yarn over with our middle finger, and then pop the needle off, the stitch off the end. So through the stitch, round with the middle, off the end. So making sure it's coming on the underneath of the right needle, round like that, off the end. So holding left needle primarily with the pinky and the third finger. If you lose the yarn, don't panic. So we're going to go round with the middle, through and over. and just keep practicing. Around and over the stitch, around and yeah, we're nearly there. Keep just practicing your technique. Okay, so we're just going to do this last angle here. I'm just going to do a couple of stitches, so we're going to go around the needle, over and off the end. So into the next stitch, round with the middle, over and off to the next stitch, round, over and off. So we're just going over the right needle, under and over, round. And just keep practicing until you feel comfortable. It's worth just doing a swatch, practice swatch, to get used to it before diving into a full project. So that's the end of the tutorial. Thank you for watching. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions or you need any more help, just leave me a comment in the boxes below. There is a link to the casting on tutorial and to the other method that I've used if you can't get to grips with this one. Overall, this one is easier for knitting flow because I didn't have to keep readjusting the yarn around my amputee hand, but you really got to just find what works for you. And that's it. I hope to be posting some more videos soon, so keep tuned.